Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, everyone.
Good
We'll just give
morning.
everybody a minute to hop on before we start, okay? Okay, everyone, good morning, and welcome to the 2023 Idaho Mental Health Month Art Exhibition presented by Empower Idaho. Empower Idaho's mission is to change the conversation about behavioral health to one of compassion and understanding. The EI team coordinates educational activities, both online and in person, and advocates on behalf of adults with behavioral health conditions and their family members with the purpose of helping to improve the behavioral health delivery system of Idaho. I am Mary Wright, Marketing and Communications Coordinator for Empower Idaho, and I will let my colleague Alejandra introduce herself.
Yes, hi, everybody. My name is Alejandra Del Toro, and I am the program manager here with Empower Idaho.
So Empower Idaho leads the statewide Mental Health Month campaign. We have an entire page on our website devoted to the mental health um, devoted to Mental Health Month, and I'm sure that Alejandro will drop that in the chat, the link to it. And the first listing on the page is the 2023 Mental Health Month Toolkit. It's designed for use by anyone. You will find behavioral health resources and support for yourself, for caregivers, and you'll find crisis center info. Advocacy resources include uh, a sample letter to elected officials to prioritize mental health care funding, treatment options, and accessibility. There's also info in there on how to write an op-ed about mental health, and both the governor's and the Boise mayor's proclamation to declare May Mental Health Month. Empower Idaho has social media channels that help spread the Mental Health Month message, and you can find the beautiful graphics by our wonderful artists this year, Bobby Gaytan, an Idaho native, uh, that are being used in social media. Those are also on that web page that Alejandra put in the chat. On our website, we also have a community calendar and it includes many mental health month events. So if you have an event that is not listed, you can please email us at empoweridaho@janus, and I'm pretty sure that Alejandro will have that in the chat in no time. So um, and last but certainly not least, Empower Idaho also presents the annual art exhibition. And without further ado, let's get started. Let's see here. So we respect and honor our participating artists' unique relationship with mental illness and mental health, and we celebrate and lift up their identities and experiences. Thank you to our wonderful artists this year for sharing your story, and thank you to you, our attendees, for joining us. We ask that all attendees who are joining us today use respectful and kind comments in the chat box. And speaking of the chat box, look for it right now, because when we take the time to look at the different pieces, you can put your impressions in the chat, which is really nice for all of us to see, and for the artists. Um, I'm hoping that everyone understands and agrees the respectful and kind comments, and just give us thumbs up if you do. Okay. So this all ages event may contain mature topics related to mental health and mental illness that may be triggering to audience members. Please keep this in mind, and certain topics may be sensitive for younger audience members, so viewer discretion is advised. And as you can see on this screen, um, if you want if or need emotional support for you or a friend, or are thinking about suicide, we have that great 988 lifeline, and the information about it is on this slide. And there's even veteran support specific to veterans, and LGBTQIA support. So anyway, make a note if needed. And let's start with our first artist, Eris Kane. And Eris has submitted a piece called The Anatomy of Mental Health. It's mixed media, and she created it in 2022. And Eris submitted an artist statement, so I'm going to read it right now. Growing up in a household where mental health wasn't discussed, I've become fascinated with discovering my own story. During this piece, I did a lot of research on the brain and what each section controls. The bottom left piece depicts the individual sections of the brain. The bottom right piece details the symptoms I personally experience caused by those various sections. And the middle top piece expresses the social repercussions felt through the mask of mental illness. Those are color coded into red, medical professionals. In green are people in my close environment. Blue is intrusive thoughts. Black is cries for help. And yellow are the comments that need to be heard. These three pieces are surrounded by depictions of migraines, paranoia, and firsthand experiences from an online survey of my peers. This work is mixed media, created using collage, ink, and colored pencil. It's designed to feel overwhelming and suffocating at a glance, but if you take the time to come close, the work should draw you in, explain itself to you, and show off its lovable quirks and idiosyncrasies. We've all experienced it. It's time to acknowledge it.
I just want to make a quick comment and remind everybody to just take this time and enjoy the artwork, and also if you feel inclined, sharing some positive messages with the artist. Um, I mean, anything related to mental health is, it includes being very vulnerable, and all the artists that participated shared a really vulnerable and important piece of themselves. And I'm just grateful that we're all here to celebrate that and to really enjoy Eris's piece. So thanks.
There's a lot to take in this piece, and I hate to move on too soon. However, this is a good time for me to let everyone know that you'll be able to find these slides on our website early next week, and we'll also have the recording from this exhibition there also.
I do want to point out Elizabeth's comment in the chat box. She said, "This is a very interesting piece. I like how the brain is full of words, as that is how anxiety feels. Too many thoughts to contain." Heard that. Thanks for sharing, Elizabeth.
Okay. Our next artist is Mary Unger, and she submitted 3 different pieces, and the first is named She. It's an oil painting that she did in 2021. The second is called Feeling, also in 2021, and it's ink and graphite. And the final is a self-portrait that is in graphite, and she did in 2021. So this is She. The second piece for Mary is Feeling. And the third, a self-portrait. Okay. There's a lot to take in here. I'm certainly going to look at these slides again after we're done. Um, our next artist is William Bybee, and he submitted 5 pieces. And the first, I think I'll introduce each one and put them up, but he did submit an artist statement that I'll read, and then I'll introduce each piece uh, on its individual slide. Abstract painting is at the heart of who I am as an artist. Through abstraction, I can express who I am as an artist and as an individual. It allows me to bring life and color into a world that can be very monochrome and boring. Abstraction has given me a way to talk about subjects that matter to me, but not force my thoughts on a viewer that is not ready to receive this message. Through abstraction, I explore the world of codes, codification, and the world of queer abstraction. Codification is the nonverbal communication that is at the heart of the queer world. It is through these signs that we recognize other queer people and signal to the world that we are queer too. The more you know about the codes and society, the more you will understand what is being said with those codes. Queer abstraction is the codification of the art. It is not always visible, but remains unseen and hidden in plain sight. Artists like Jasper Johns, Robert Rauschenberg, Robert Indiana, Ellsworth Kelly, and Felix Gonzalez Torres have all used abstraction to talk about their queer identity and life. In my painting series, What Lays at Your Core, I interviewed different people in my life and found out how they identified with different stereotypes and imagery. Throughout this series, I use the different stereotypes used throughout the world and history to describe people and gender. In the painting, There's No Wrong Way to Be a Girl, I used every shade and tint of red that I had, but I began by using ultramarine blue because of the historical use of the color for the Virgin Mary. Included in this painting is the symbols from the lesbian flag and the triangle given to troublemaking women by the Nazis during World War II. I strive to make space in this painting for all people that identify as a woman. The painting, Your Identity is Valid, this individual identified as non-binary or gender fluid. They are neither male or female, they are somewhere in between and fluid. This painting uses colors that are made from combining 2 colors, green and purple, or that have traditionally been used for unknown genders, such as yellow. At the base of this painting is the gender symbols for non-binary, which is made up of both genders. So here is There is no wrong way to be a boy. It's an oil painting and it was created in 2020. This piece is entitled There is No Wrong Way to Be a Girl and is another oil painting and created in 2020. This piece is entitled Trans Men Are Men, another oil painting created in 2020. This piece is entitled Trans Women Are Women, another oil painting created in 2020. This piece is entitled Your Identity is Valid, an oil painting created in 2020. And the final piece in the series, Your Sexuality is Valid, 2020 oil painting. Okay, we're going to move on to our next artist, our Jeanette Lavelle, and she did not submit an artist statement. And her piece, she submitted one, is called Happy Place. She created it this year, and it's done in acrylic. Okay. Um, our next artist, Jude Metzler, submitted 4 different pieces. They're all digital drawings and they were all created in 2022. This piece is entitled Love. The second piece is entitled Smile. This piece is entitled Anxiety. And the final piece submitted by Jude is named Exit. Okay, everyone. We're going to take a little break here before we show you the rest of our artist pieces. So, um, and we have some resources on this screen, as you can see. So I'm sure that Alejandro will end up putting these particular links up in the chat so that you can click on them and go to those different places or have them on your browser for later. And anyway, so there's one for looking for a therapist in your area. The Trevor Project is a mental health resource for LGBTQIA people up to the age of 25. And Ida's home to 7 free crisis centers located throughout the state. So you can learn more about the crisis center closest to you by searching Idaho Crisis Centers in Google. And FYI, Idaho is a great resource for youth and their families to improve, preserve, and restore mental health and wellness. And last but not least, NAMI Idaho provides free support groups for folks living with mental illness and their families statewide. So Alejandro's put those links up into the in the chat box. Why don't we take why don't we take 10 minutes here, go to the restroom, get something to drink, and we'll come back at 11:50. Okay? Thank you, everyone.
Hi, all. It's Alejandra here. So I know we're on break right now, and feel free to take as long as you need. But we'll circle back actually here at like 11:45, 46, to move forward with the presentation. So just letting you know, we're gonna have a little bit of a shorter break than initially what we wanted. So yeah.
Hi. Hey, so how do I fix my message thingy so that way people can see my messages?
Megan, I was just typing your response.
Oh, okay.
Just look above where you type in the chat and it says my name, and click on that drop down and it'll say everyone in the meeting, and click on that one.
Okay. Chat. It says everyone in the meeting. Okay, cool.
Oh, all right.
Let me see if that fixed it. Let's see.
You can do a
Okay.
test. There you go.
Okay, meet everyone. Okay, cool. All right, sweet. Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yay. All right.
Okay, everyone, we're going to get started back up here. So our next artist is Elizabeth Ann Edwards, and she submitted 2 pieces. They're both acrylic oils. And Elizabeth, let's see, are you, I'm just trying, there you are. Elizabeth is going to read her own artist statement. So go ahead and unmute yourself, Elizabeth, and you can take it away.
Okay. So the first one up to the right, that's called Barnes Boots. And I painted this on my former father-in-law's birthday. It was actually in July of 2020. The hiking boots were a pair that my son had received from his grandparents for his 11th birthday some years ago, and I had just kept them. I decided to purchase 2 succulent plants, on one to represent his grandfather Barnes, one to represent his grandmother Barnes, and placed them in each boot. And I painted the boots first. And then later I took a walk and I found a Black Lives Matter painted rock where I was taking a walk, which kind of surprised me. And but I thought it was great because my son is African American and Native American. And then I found this pine cone, and so I put the rock in there and the pine cone. The pine cone's kind of funky looking. It's supposed to have little trails on there. The frame that it's in is actually, it's hanging in a frame that was actually a photo of, I had a sister that was 17 months older than myself, and she passed away years ago. And the frame is the original frame from that photo. So, and this one even has more meaning because he just passed away May 1st, and his funeral service is actually today.
Okay, and this second piece of Elizabeth is entitled Heart of Man.
So this one actually started out to be a totally different painting. It had originally been a painting of a dragon fruit. The first time I had ever had dragon fruit, I was in Florida and cut it in half, and I really liked the photo. And I was taking this art class, and I could see that my paintings were really one-dimensional. So I decided I was just going to totally paint over this one. I painted it all black, got black everywhere. And then I had been on Facebook, a song came up, and the graphic that was with the song, a new song, was real similar to this, and you could see the facial features of the man. So I tried painting that, and then I didn't like the facial features because they were a little bit low. And so I took them off. When I painted it again, I just left them off because I thought it drew more focus into the open heart. And I think that we all should have open hearts to each other. That's just, I think we should be a little bit more loving and kind to each other in this world. And this represents all the energy coming out of a soul for having an open heart. And I have written a book about my experience. It's called Borderline: Swan Song of an Unfinished Life. It's on Amazon. I wrote it in 2017, I think, about the experience that I went through. I don't really talk about the past much anymore because it's in the past, but I did write a book.
Elizabeth, do you mind if I share a link to your book in the chat?
Not at all.
Okay.
Sorry. Okay. Thank you, Elizabeth. We're moving on to our next artist now, Abby Egan. And she has submitted 5 different pieces and with different mediums. And Abby didn't provide an artist statement. However, so I'll just go ahead and move on to her first piece. And that one is entitled Dune 1 from 2022. And it's acrylic and mixed media.
Sorry, my internet cut off there for a second, but it looks like, Abby, that you are interested in speaking, and you're more than welcome to.
Okay. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yes, we can.
All right, perfect. Hi, everyone. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about my work today. This piece I made while experimenting with a new style that includes a lot of layering, and I came upon that style while reading Dune by Frank Herbert, which really inspired me in terms of color. So this piece and the one that is similar to it are both inspired by that series in terms of color and depth there. It's probably my new favorite style that I'm working on, so I'm pretty proud of it. Thank you. Yeah, this one was fun. I used sand, sand mixed with acrylic medium, and scraped that across and added more color um, somewhere in the middle layers there. Then more layers, and then some oil on the top. It's a lot of fun.
Okay, then we'll move on to the second piece entitled Natasha, and it's done in acrylic.
So this piece I made for a friend last December. The style is the one that initially launched me. Well, I like to think that it launched me from amateur to emerging artist by being able to replicate this style that I found. I found this in the winter of 2021. And at that time, in the middle of making my first piece with this style, a dear friend, family friend of mine passed away very suddenly. She was a few weeks shy of her 43rd birthday. She was a veteran, a mom of 4 kids, and she was like a second mom to me. She really inspired me a lot and encouraged me to keep up with my art. She was the first person to ever commission a painting from me. And when I finished that first piece in this style, I dedicated it to her. And now every piece I make in that style is, in a way, a dedication to her. I'm able to express a lot of depths here, and that's very pleasing to me. But yeah, so she had a heart attack from being after so many years of mental illness contributing to poor health habits is what caused the heart attack. So I decided to, you were talking about NAMI earlier. I actually do the NAMI walks that they do twice a year. And I do that in her honor. I started doing that last fall, and the next one is next Saturday. If you guys are up to it, it's a nice walk from the park along the green belt there. And I'll do that in her honor as much as I can. And yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for sharing your story.
Mhm.
This is Abby's second piece, her Dune 2 in the Dune series, I'm going to call it.
Mhm. So I'm just getting started. These are the only 2 pieces in the series right now, but I am really interested in blending this kind of golden burnt orange and experimenting in that color scheme there. It's something that really draws me. Another name for the series I have is Iodine Dreams. So they can be used interchangeably, but the challenge for this series is trying to create as much depth as possible with a limited amount of color, so to speak. So I guess another note is that I use painting as one of my therapeutic coping skills. I am bipolar type 2 and ADHD, inattentive type. So being able to have something like this to pour all of my emotion and energy into is extremely beneficial and useful to me in terms of mental health. And I am just really glad that I found art again in my life after so many years without it.
I neglected to mention that this is acrylic and mixed media.
Yes. Just a smidge of mixed media.
The next piece is entitled For Haley, and it is in acrylic.
So again, going back to that style, that reminds me of my friend. This was a painting for a different friend who commissioned a painting in that same style, but wanted only warm colors. And so I came up with this. I love using the gold on top. To me, that's what really makes it stand out. But this one also kind of reminds me of my Dune series. I could probably relate them together if I wanted, but the styles are totally different. But yeah, this one was a really fun piece to work on. Yeah, I love that. Alejandra just brought that up, the kintsugi, uh, the Japanese concept of repairing a broken item and putting it back together and usually gilding it with gold makes it more beautiful. I love that concept. It's definitely one that I try to use a lot in my work.
And Elizabeth asked, is there significant meaning to the squares and oblongs in your paintings?
So originally the style that I borrowed this from had those in there as sort of a way to balance the painting. Adding those elements in gives it more movement, something to draw the eye around. Without it, it still looks very pretty, but it's a bit blank, I would say. The way that I've been doing them, apart from that's differentiating from where I borrowed it from, is actually overlapping a bunch of his techniques to combine the squares with the way he did his backgrounds. So the squares are actually, it's kind of hard to see, but they're not perfect. They are a little fuzzy and imperfect. And that's the way that I like them. I like the imperfections that come out along the way. And at the same time, they serve as an anchor to the piece. The darkness of them really draws the eye in and gives the piece more depth. Or that's the attempt, at least.
Okay. And the final piece for Abby is named Inferno 5, and it is also acrylic.
And so this piece is a mistyped that it's acrylic and mixed media. That patterning you can see on the front there, that texture is actually crushed walnut. And that's worked into the underlayer, which is a super heavy gesso. And then it's all kind of scraped and swirled together and painted over after it's dry. This piece I submitted to the Alexa Rose Foundation exhibition for their grant artists. I received their grant last year to get an airbrush tank and an airbrush and compressor. And as a result, we had to put some stuff up in their exhibition. So I entered this piece. It's a bit moodier than I meant it to be. It's not my favorite, but I'm still fairly pleased with it. Thank you. Final remarks here. So I don't have any prints available yet, but I do have a website that is in the works, as well as social media. I'll post that in the chat here in a minute or so. I just wanted to talk about one more thing. Again, we brought up NAMI earlier. So NAMI has a convention every year that they hold in Minneapolis. I applied to give a speech for their convention and got accepted for their online portion. So I am actually in the middle of finishing up editing the video right now. But I believe the online convention for NamiCon 2023 is June 6th through 8th. But it should be available on their website and YouTube channel after that, I believe. It's open source, so I can also share it as much as I like. I'm sure it'll be up on my website and my socials as well once I'm finished with it. But the title of my speech is Living Bipolar, Visibility, Validity, and Value. So it's just a speech of how I grew up around here, being a conservative space that tended to ignore or belittle mental illness and mental health, at least where I was in Meridian growing up. So it's talking about that experience, about the access to care for young adults, and about intergenerational trauma as well. So I think for me, that's everything today. Thank you for viewing, and thank you for your kind words, everyone.
Thank you, Abby, and good luck at NAMI. I'll be checking it out.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. I'm going to move on to our next artist, Sarah Austell, and I hope I didn't murder your last name, Sarah. She has done a series, I Live With Them Every Day, Always, and it's Alcohol Marker on Bristol, and it was done in 2022. And she submitted 4 different pieces. And I'll just introduce each one as I bring them up for you to view. So the first is Sleeping, 2022. The second piece in the survey series is called Getting Dressed, also created in 2022. The next piece in the series is entitled Watching Movies, and once again created in 2022. And the final piece in the series, Doing Makeup 2022. So I just want to answer Abby's question about will this presentation be uploaded or just the slides? The recording will be available early next week, and these slides will also be available on our website. And you can scroll back in the chat, and Alejandra actually put up the website address, the link in the chat, or she might throw it up again because she's good. She's very good. Okay. And our final artist, last but certainly not least, is Megan Terraberry. And Megan has 5 different pieces that she has submitted, and she's going to speak on her pieces. So anyway, I will move on to the first piece, and Megan, you just have to unmute yourself and you can speak on them. The first is entitled Stained Glass.
Hi. So this one is stained glass. I hadn't done, this is watercolor. Hadn't done watercolor since I was a kid, and I actually responded to a Facebook ad, believe it or not. They were calling all artists out in Teutonia, Idaho. And they were doing things of matters of the heart. And I figured since it was matters of the heart to do something kid-like. And so I did a kid-like art piece, and stained glass reminded me of when I was a kid. It was colorful and beautiful, and it made me in awe. And I just threw tape on paper and had fun with it. So that's how that one came about, and I framed it, and it actually ended up in a gallery out in Teutonia, Idaho for a little bit, and then it came back home with me. And now I do have hats for sale out, and it's called the Tribal Art Collective out there in Teutonia. And if you're wondering where Teutonia is, it goes Teutonia, Driggs, and then Jackson Hole, Wyoming. You blink and you just go right through it. It's a great little location if you're wanting to get out of the city. The website, I'm not sure of. It's just called the Tribal Arts Collective. They are on Facebook. And then my book, I did want to discuss that. I'm a published author. It's called The Other Side of Ona. It's something that helped me get out of my mental hard spots. That's what this one also helped me remind me as a kid. That's something that's helped me remind me of where my happy places are at. The colors help me stay in my vibrancy. Anytime that I've ever worn dark colors, I have people in my life. So my therapist, my psych doctor, my friends, my family, I call them my people, that help me out. Whenever they're concerned about me wearing black, I stole this saying. It's called just like a caterpillar goes into the dark of the night into its cocoon, don't worry, I will flourish too and come out with my colors eventually. And that's what my art does with me too, is my colors will flourish and continue to grow just like me.
Okay,
Amen.
Megan's second piece is Gears Moving Forward, and it is acrylic.
So this one, I felt stuck for a minute and I didn't know what to paint, and I wanted to do something different, and I felt like I was just kept going in circles, to be honest. I felt like I just kept going in circles doing the same thing over and over and over again, and then it popped in my head, why not I do gears? And it actually inspired me to do a painting, and it helped me to be able to continue to move forward. And it pushed me into getting into my first book signing at Barbecue for Life. It's a local place here in Boise who had me do my first book signing, and this piece was actually there. And it's actually right now at Mad Swede Brewing. I believe, yeah, Mad Swede Brewing has it right now up on their gallery wall. So it's available for sale still. And then I have my second book signing at Barbecue for Life, June 23rd, starting at 3 p.m. And there's going to be a raffle of other local artists, and the proceeds are going to St. Luke's Children's Hospital. But this piece really has inspired me to continue to move forward, no matter how many times I may feel like I'm going in circles, because that in itself is at least I'm going forward at least in a direction. And I did, it also inspired me to make earrings. So there'll be earrings there for sale. And so I make earrings, I crochet hats and blankets and all kinds of fun stuff that no matter what, at least I continue to go forward. And we get to do together that I cannot do alone. So, yeah, I feel honored to be able to do this for a third year. So, yeah.
We feel honored to have you, Megan.
I ran across the blanket, or not the blanket, the shirt and the bag and the mug that I got from you guys last year.
Oh, well, we have more if you want to stop by the office.
Okay, yeah, I'll totally snag some more.
Yeah, message me.
Okay, sounds amazing.
Megan's next piece is entitled All Quilting Together, and it is done in oil.
So I don't know if you can see the word stitches. That is spelled correctly because it actually represents the words we speak, the verses that you speak, not the things that you sew. You actually have to Google it really, really hard to find it spelt that way. I had somebody tell me I spelt stitches wrong, and I said, nope, Google it. So inspiring growth starts with the stitches you use, the buttons you hold, and the needles you thread with, the art you create. So whenever I do a piece like this, I just throw the colors on and then just kind of go little bits at a time. It's never a planned piece. I don't draw it out at first. I literally just go with the flow of it. And my neighbors are always watching me when I do it because I do it out front. It's a really, really huge piece. And the little pin cushion was a happy little accident. Because I was going to do something else there, and it, like, I've never drawn one or painted one of those before, and it turned out better than I thought it would. And that's what I find is, like, anytime that I go to paint something intentional, it never turns out the way I hoped it would, and the unintentional ones always end up way better than I thought. And this has ended up at a couple of different little gallery events as well. I've done events at Mad Swede Brewing again, back in October, and then I'm going to probably bring it with me to Barbecue for Life as well. So if you guys are ever interested in it, is up for purchase. So yeah. And I ran across somebody that does do actually sews onto the canvases. So that was a technique that I eventually might get into. So those are all painted. They're not sewn. It's all paint. But eventually I think I will try and attempt to do fabric and sewing on canvas because that looked like a fun technique to attempt.
The next piece is entitled Loved, and it's watercolor and oil.
So once again, it was the watercolor. I did it at the same time I did that first one, and it was Matters of the Heart. And the oil is the 5 dots and the 5 golden dots. And I I played around with circles because it was something fun to do. And I don't know. I honestly, I just had surgery and I couldn't play with my oils. And I didn't want to end up getting oils all over my mom's rug. So, and I was going, I don't know, the mental side of my brain was not happy. And so I needed to paint, and it was perfect timing to run across that ad with Teutonia, Idaho. So I was able to do some watercolor. I had a buddy take me to Michael's and we got some watercolor, and I was like, yay, I can paint again and still be a part of a community that's always been a part of me, a part of my life. And my business is called Paintings Gem Style. And I came up with that because a lot of times I tell people to call me Meg, and it's gem spelled backwards, and that's what I am. And it's just taken a lifetime for me to figure that out. So it's a matter of the love that I've always poured out to other people, that I've had to learn that through this art that I continue to create, that I get to turn around and pour that love back into me, and that's part of it. And I love the community that continues to support me. You guys support me, and then Barbecue for Life has supported me. Mad Sweet is supporting me. My mom, she's been a huge supporter. We're actually looking to open up a art studio here, just waiting on planning and zoning. I just got to do some blueprints, and that itself is a whole nother art deal. Squares and circles and lines. Oh my. Not lions, tigers, and bears, but there's a lot of schematics involved in that I didn't realize, but it was interesting, and the city's been really supportive in that, and I can say I'm a very huge, very appreciative of it, and I'm hoping once that gets up and going that I can send the information to you guys, because I'm looking to teach art classes and help continue to better further the community.
Wonderful.
That'd be awesome, Megan. Congrats. That's exciting stuff that's coming up for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, last but not least, Megan's final piece is entitled Fly, and it is an oil.
So this one was the first one. I got sober 4 years ago, off of alcohol, marijuana, melatonin, and cigarettes. And this was the first one I painted when I got sober off of that at the Gem Center of the Arts off of Oberlin and Vista area. And I was thinking of my daughter when I did it, and my son. My son had passed away. Let's see, it's been almost 12 years since he passed away. And my daughter is now 11, and I was pregnant with her while he passed away. And so I was thinking of love when I did this one. And they both inspire me to continue to grow and flourish and fly, that no matter what, they will always be there, and they'll always love me regardless of how much I try to beat myself up. So that that no matter what, they will continue to want me to move forward, and they want me to flourish. And so I had to put the little bit of gold light within that darkness, that we get to float together and we get to fly together as a community, as a whole, and we get to learn. So yeah. And that one is actually at Mad Swede Brewing as well, on the gallery wall. And that is off of Cole, on the left-hand side of the road from Costco.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. And thank you all of our, all of our artists. We still have time left, and if
I
any
also,
of,
sorry, I
oh,
also
sorry.
wanted to say thank you to all the artists as well. You guys did amazing. It's great to be working with everybody. So thank you.
Well, what I would like to suggest is if anyone wants to put any questions in the chat, do any of the artists want to hang in there for a little while and answer anything in the chat? Or for that matter, we don't have that many people on. I would think that if someone wanted to ask a question, you can unmute and ask a question of a artist directly. Well, I'm thinking I gave enough time for anybody who wanted to speak up or write a chat to do so. I think we've had a very busy chat and we've had some really nice interaction with our artists here today. And I want to thank you all for attending the 2023 Idaho Mental Health Month art exhibition. And thank you to our amazing artists for sharing their work, sharing their stories, and being vulnerable and putting it all out there for us. We appreciate you. And as I mentioned before, if you or someone you love is in crisis and needs emotional support, we've got the 988 line. It's a text or a call line. And then there's the two options also in there. If you press 1, you can get veteran support. And if you press 3, or I'm sorry, press 2 for LGBTQIA support. And so that is going to conclude our presentation today. And thank you all for joining and the wonderful artwork that we had. Oh, and I guess it is press 3 for the LGBTQIA support. So I guess I remembered that from the earlier slide. But thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Yes, I want to express my thank you as well, not only for the artists, but also the great team that we have that's working with Empower Idaho. Mary, wonderful job emceeing, and Anna Guida, who is a former Empower Idaho team member who has graciously helped us out with Mental Health Month this month and has worked with the artists. So just want to say thank you to you two. It's an awesome team that I'm lucky to work with, and this art show is always honestly gets me like very emotional with just how vulnerable everybody is willing to go. And I don't know, I just feel very connected to you all, and we all have this shared experience and experience with mental health. And I just, again, want to say my appreciation. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
Okay, I guess, yeah, enjoy your Saturday. It's sunny in Boise, so I'll see y'all outside.
Bye.
Everyone, thank you.